It's time to go. Time to quench your thirst, to live. Time to shake and make. Time to head back on the road, our way. A freedom feast, fold the mist. It's time to go. It's time to speed up the pulse, intensify the beat. To get together, meet and greet. It's time to go. Time to lift off and cruise. It's showtime. Turn on the lights and hit the stage. To exhale. It's time to go. It's time for legends, a bright era. Time for the skilled to be raw, to make way for the stubborn adventurers, the ones who outline frontiers and narrow the gaps. It's time to go. Time to leave a mark, an exclamation one. Time to roam and ramble on, eyes on fire. Time to stand out and be courage. It's time to inspire.
Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hi, I'm NPG and I help Portuguese descendants all over the world with dual citizenship, guiding them along with our network of experts all the way from here in Lisbon to America, without confusing steps and bureaucratic documents. I know, it's very hard to believe. Sign up right here. Let's get this started. Becoming a Portuguese dual citizen.
You, Nelson, I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, everyone. Bon dia.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you imagine yourself here in the center of Lisbon? Who would you bring? Your family, your friends? Imagine the things you could do with your Portuguese dual citizenship. You could use any of the Medicare that Europe has to offer. You could work and study. The cartão cidadão. We call it a very bureaucratic country, and it is, but it has something new. So in America, you need to have an extra social security card. The cartão cidadão has 3 numbers in the back. Once you get your citizenship, the passport is very, very fast. It depends on the timing, but sometimes it could take just a week. Once you have all that in order, then it's very easy to make your kids also citizens because you have all the documents organized.
This is what he's going to do for you. He's going to introduce to you the stress relief of becoming a Portuguese citizen without you having to leave your house. And this is what we need.
For the past 20 years, he had the opportunity to serve as an advisor to 4 consul generals of Portugal in the United States.
You built a huge credibility within all the communities, I believe. Your interaction with the consulate office, with the government of Portugal, you built that respect.
Doing things for the community, working tirelessly together. You're one of the few people that I've always been able to count on. If you say you're going to do something, I know you're going to do it. And if I want something done and I have you do it, I know it's going to get done and done well.
This experience of having your citizenship, it's something that is easy. It's not the nightmare you're used to hearing everybody describe, so that you have access to some of these documents, to Portuguese documents that are difficult for you to understand.
Is there a significant difference in process for Canadian versus U.S. citizens?
The process and the documents they require are the same.
And I am in Hayward, California, over here on the sunny side of the bay.
Digam-me se preferem que eu fale convosco em português ou inglês.
I've been interested in many years to become a Portuguese citizen.
Getting up in age, and I would like to go over there more often, and I'd like to become part of the Portuguese community.
I already have both originals.
I have a question about my birth certificate, passport, and driver's license.
Do I just click on that link?
So the email went through, and I'm getting the app on my phone right now.
This team of people you could trust, people that could really take care of you and your citizenship, walk you by the hand all the way through the process. Very knowledgeable lawyers, solicitadores, notários públicos. From here in Lisbon, from America, in Portuguese, in English, you can find your path to citizenship. Or even if you are a citizen, but you want to get the citizenship for your kids, and you're wondering what do you need to do, what's the next step, to interact with us, to be on the same room and talk back and forward about your process so that we could help you identify your path to citizenship. Thousands of citizenships, complex cases, and solve problems that you weren't able to solve up to now because they don't answer the phone or they don't email you at the places you've been trying. And you'll have access to this beautiful team, and I will be here with you, guiding you and helping you. If there's one thing you know I do is I get things done, and I will help you getting your Portuguese dual citizenship.
He was elected to represent the Portuguese community in America as advisor to the Portuguese government.
That is something that is priceless, and I'm a perfect example. Trying to do it on your own can be extremely frustrating and lead to a lot of dead ends.
O Nelson sempre mostrou uma capacidade de trabalho enorme, de boa vontade para chegar ao fim de uma meta.
Incredible in terms of the work ethic. Your character is one that is to be admired, and you're a doer. You facilitate the process.
Become Portuguese citizens, especially in Portugal, because it takes decades to get something done. He's not trying to get your money. That's not what it's all about. It's all about his heart, because he wants to help people without spending a lot of money and spending time. And then you'll be waving the red, green, and yellow flag, and you'll be going, Heroes do Mar!
Become a Portuguese dual citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Olá a todos, feliz dia de Portugal, celebra-se Portugal por todo o mundo, onde há português existe Portugal. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Dia de Portugal. This is an extraordinary event that is celebrated with more intensity, more passion in the communities outside of Portugal, where we estimate, the government likes to say there's about 5 million people. I like to say we have at least 10 million or 20 million if we count all of the descendants of Portuguese. And I know many of you are not Portuguese. That's why you're watching this challenge, Becoming a Portuguese Dual Citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship, as we celebrate Dia de Portugal. And let me just sum up. This is the second day of the challenge. If this is your first day, welcome. Thank you for joining. We have done this yesterday. We will do this again tomorrow. It's a 3-day challenge celebrating Dia de Portugal, Camões, and Comunidades Portuguesas. We have a very special lineup for you today. We have Diretor Regional das Comunidades José Andrade from Azores, where I know about 80-90% of the population in California and the East Coast comes from. We're hoping to have Madeira as well, because I know the Madeira descendants like to follow us. And the first thing I want to know, go to the chat, go to the comment box and just blow that chat. Just let us know, where are you? What state? What country? We had more than 1,000 people sign up for this challenge. I know some of you are just getting in. Some of you got the emails. We're broadcasting on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, across multiple pages. And I want to know what city and what state.
Do you want to become a Portuguese dual citizen? We have created a framework to expedite your path to dual citizenship without long waits and no Portuguese bureaucracy, stopping you from making this dream a reality. This is how it works. Were you born in Portugal? Great. You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. The Portuguese passport is one of the most powerful in the world. Live, work, and travel freely in all 27 EU countries without a visa. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese and have you been living together for 3 years or more? Citizenship Path 3 is for you. If you hire us and start today, your Framework 2 dual citizenship includes orientation video conference on your preferred platform, login access to our online tool with our framework of steps, instructions, document uploads, legal experts assigned to your path, all Portuguese legal documents including birth certificates, translations, power of attorney, and much more. We pay your Portuguese government application fees. We help you scheduling your appointments, including American institutions and Portuguese consulates, embassies, etc. We submit your citizenship application in Portugal with our online expedited framework. You receive a welcome package mailed to your home to securely mail documents. It includes my book, Portuguese in California, The History of Generations, $60 value, free. Not having to deal with Portuguese bureaucracy, priceless. Unrestricted European Union access to 27 incredible countries. Education and career opportunities. Consular assistance and protection worldwide. Extend the same privileges to your spouse and children. Embrace your Portuguese roots and maintain dual citizenship. Portuguese citizenship is a privilege that could expire after the 3rd generation. If you do not act now, you could lose your opportunity to become a dual citizen and your kids will no longer qualify. The link to your Portuguese heritage will be broken forever. Becoming a Portuguese citizen. Your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Sign up today and take advantage of our monthly payment limited time offer. We are with you every step of the way. www.portuguesecitizenship.org.
All right, and we're back here on the desk. Welcome to Dia de Portugal celebrations, and I have a very special guest here with us celebrating Dia de Portugal. He is in California, home of the largest Portuguese community in America. A lot of people don't know that, but it is a fact, and he is celebrating Portugal right there. Well, please join me to welcome José Andrade, all the way from California. We're gonna go to Portuguese a little bit. And this is going to be a good test. And tell us in the chat right now, below that chat, if you speak a little bit of Portuguese or if you know Portuguese at all. And I know José Andrade, he is an incredible Diretor Regional das Comunidades Portuguesas. He represents the Azores government communities abroad. And they are almost as vast as the global Portuguese communities. It's a huge responsibility. So we want to welcome him, and we want to we're going to start a little bit in Portuguese, perhaps, so that you get your Portuguese going. Because if you're going to do your citizenship from Portuguese grandparents, this is a good start. José Andrade, I'm going to ask you to unmute your mic, and please welcome to the show celebrating Dia de Portugal. How is California?
Viva! Grande abraço, Nelson Ponta Garça, desde a Califórnia, neste Dia de Portugal, onde, mesmo estando na Califórnia, devemos privilegiar a língua portuguesa. Todos os dias, mas especialmente neste dia de Portugal, de Camões e das comunidades portuguesas. Queria, antes de mais, constatar uma curiosidade. É que nós, hoje, aqui estamos com as posições invertidas. Eu normalmente estou nos Açores e o Nelson Ponta Garça está muito ligado à Califórnia. Desta vez estou eu na Califórnia e o Nelson de Ponta Garça a partir dos Açores. Mas isso significa que tudo é possível através das novas tecnologias e que nós devemos estar, estamos sempre onde quer que se encontre um açoriano. É esta a nossa missão e exatamente por isso nos encontramos agora aqui na Califórnia por esses dias, a acompanhar a visita oficial do vice-presidente do Governo dos Açores, o Dr. Artur Lima, que aqui se encontra em representação oficial do presidente do governo dos Açores, Dr. José Manuel Bolieiro. Um programa muito intenso e muito interessante, que começou na quinta-feira em Sacramento, na capital do estado, para participarmos na sessão extraordinária, quer da Assembleia Legislativa, quer do Senado Estadual, no Capitólio de Sacramento, uma sessão em que foi aprovada por unanimidade uma resolução de ambas as câmaras, reconhecendo e declarando o dia 29 de maio como o Dia dos Açores, o dia 10 de junho como o Dia de Portugal, de Camões e das
We lost you for a little bit here. He is far away, but I think he's going to be coming back. There you are.
O mês de junho, o mês da herança cultural, na presença de um membro do governo dos Açores, e uma resolução interessante que releva bastante a importância histórica e contemporânea da comunidade açoriana para o desenvolvimento do próprio estado da Califórnia. Ontem também, aliás, tivemos a oportunidade de inaugurar um monumento na vila de Tiburon, na Baía de São Francisco, exatamente de homenagem e reconhecimento pelo contributo dos lavradores açorianos para o desenvolvimento económico do estado da Califórnia. É um monumento cuja primeira pedra foi lançada no final do ano passado pelo próprio presidente da República Portuguesa, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, e o último azulejo foi colocado ontem mesmo pelo vice-presidente do governo dos Açores, Artur Lima, em representação do próprio governo da região autónoma dos Açores, sinalizando o reconhecimento que nós temos e que é devido às comunidades açorianas da Califórnia pelo trabalho tão importante que têm vindo a fazer de afirmação e preservação da nossa identidade cultural, de preservação da nossa língua, mas também de contributo determinante, sobretudo na área dos laticínios, como se sabe, e em especial na área do Vale de São Joaquim, para desenvolver também economicamente esse imenso Estado que tão bem nos acolhe desde há tanto tempo a esta parte. Vamos ainda hoje poder participar nas comemorações oficiais do Dia de Portugal, de Camões e das comunidades portuguesas aqui na cidade de São José, e ao longo dos próximos 2 dias terei ainda a oportunidade de visitar algumas organizações das comunidades açorianas, com as quais a Direção Regional das Comunidades tem protocolos anuais de cooperação financeira. Terei também a oportunidade de celebrar um protocolo de cooperação com o Portuguese Behind Borders Institute da Universidade Estadual da Califórnia, em Fresno. Terei a oportunidade também de me encontrar com um grupo de jovens líderes comunitários aqui do estado da Califórnia, e de participar amanhã, por exemplo, na festa em honra do Divino Espírito Santo que decorre na cidade de Livingston. Tudo se conjuga, portanto, para que estes dias possam ser dias de afirmação da nossa açorianidade e de reforço da nossa ligação entre a comunidade açoriana da Califórnia e a região autónoma dos Açores, no quadro alargado das comemorações que decorrem do Dia de Portugal, de Camões e das comunidades portuguesas.
Muito obrigado. Well, isn't he a beautiful Portuguese speaker, and that's why he represents the Azores abroad and all the communities? Just a quick sum up. Go to the chat and let us know, did I get that? Did I understand that? I think it's also good feedback for you and for Azores on how many Portuguese are out there that still dominate the language. I believe that even those that don't understand Portuguese, they're not less Portuguese because of that, but it is something that you should try to understand a few words, and if you hear it here and there, I think it's very useful. And of course, with José Andrade, there's some harder words there sometimes because he is very eloquent. He not only was director of communities, but he was in the mayor's office. He published several books. And that's one of the reasons also, besides the government, I was already a fan before that position because because he's an excellent writer. And I thought it was the perfect person to open up this Dia de Portugal here as the Portuguese community, especially in America. There's no statistics. And that's one challenge I would put right here to the government of Portugal, of Azores and Madeira. Many people have talked about it, but nobody's done it, is to know exactly how many Portuguese and of what descent we have. It's a very big effort. It's hard to know. And that's why I think nobody did it in the past, because it's almost impossible to know. So what we say now is that about 80% of the Portuguese in America, for example, and in Canada, are of Azores descent. But now you let me know in the chat if you're from Madeira, if you're from Continente, so that we get that record straight, and that we all also acknowledge we love Madeira. I know José Andrade has been to Madeira many times also, and he's worked on that cooperation. And just to sum it up, he was just kind of giving you an idea of what he is doing in California to promote the Azorean culture, the Azorean importance, different initiatives that they're taking and they're doing. And yes, I wish for many years I spent Dia de Portugal on Kelly Park, which should be happening soon. I don't know. No, you tell us where are you going to celebrate Dia de Portugal right now after all that you've done? It's around 9 a.m. there, 9:22. So I'm imagining you'll swing by Dia de Portugal in São José maybe. And then a final question on why do you think it's very important, or if you think it's important at all. I believe you will reinforce what I believe, that it's very important for people to become dual citizens. And I want you on the audience to listen from a government official that, although he doesn't have responsibilities with the consulates, but I think he could reinforce one thing that I'm always saying, and when it comes from a government official, I think it gains other weight, is that you should become a dual citizen because it does not interfere with your Canadian or American citizenship at all. There's people who have 3 citizenships. How do you think that could be beneficial? Como é que acha que ser cidadão também português poderá beneficiar e se acha ou não, se incentiva ou não às pessoas, muitas pessoas que estão no Dia de Portugal, que dizem que são portugueses de coração, mas que no fundo tecnicamente não são porque nunca fizeram a sua cidadania, não é?
É verdade. Olha, Nelson Ponta Garça, antes de mais, permita-me agradecer as suas amáveis palavras e confirmar que, de facto, estou agora prestes a seguir para o Kelly Park, onde tradicionalmente se realizará mais uma vez este ano e neste Dia de Portugal, agora a partir das 11 horas da manhã, as comemorações oficiais e populares em honra do nosso país, da língua de Camões e, sobretudo, neste caso, das comunidades portuguesas. O Dia de Portugal é importante em toda a parte, mas é especialmente importante fora de Portugal, junto das comunidades portuguesas. E neste caso, como se sabe, as comunidades portuguesas são, na América do Norte, essencialmente comunidades açorianas. Aqui, a Califórnia, como bem foi referido, é certamente a maior comunidade de toda a diáspora açoriana da América do Norte. Estima-se que sejamos cerca de 350 mil portugueses e luso-descendentes, neste que é o maior estado da costa oeste dos Estados Unidos da América, e desses 350 mil, à volta de 90% são açorianos ou açores-descendentes. Portanto, imigrantes ainda nascidos nas 9 ilhas dos Açores, e aqui neste caso, como se sabe, particularmente nas ilhas do Grupo Central, ou então os seus filhos e netos, uma vez que estamos aqui há praticamente 200 anos. E isso leva-me à questão que colocou. De facto, nós podemos ser e somos uma comunidade grande e importante, num estado importantíssimo como é a Califórnia, mas se não formos também cidadãos americanos vivendo aqui na Califórnia, não somos cidadãos completos. Nós podemos ser bons cidadãos americanos sem deixar de sermos bons cidadãos portugueses. E, portanto, isso leva-nos ao desafio da dupla cidadania. É muito importante aquilo que o Nelson Ponta Garça está a fazer, cumprindo, aliás, de forma exemplar, a sua responsabilidade de conselheiro das comunidades portuguesas pelo estado da Califórnia, no sentido de, ao longo destes 3 dias, ontem, hoje e amanhã, estar a desafiar os portugueses espalhados pelo mundo, e neste caso em especial os que vivem na América do Norte, para que assumam as vantagens da dupla cidadania. Podem ser cidadãos americanos e cidadãos canadianos, mas também devem ser, ao mesmo tempo, cidadãos portugueses. Se tiverem essa dupla cidadania, passam a valer por 2, e isso tem várias vantagens. Desde logo, por exemplo, do ponto de vista pessoal, cada um dos cidadãos americanos que assuma a cidadania portuguesa passa a ter acesso, entre outras vantagens, ao passaporte português, que, como já foi referido aqui, é um dos passaportes mais poderosos do mundo. E, portanto, até do ponto de vista do interesse individual, é importante que os nossos imigrantes e descendentes possam, de facto, aceder à cidadania portuguesa e, repito, podem ser excelentes cidadãos americanos, mas também podem ser excelentes cidadãos portugueses se avançarem para a dupla cidadania. Esse apelo é importante todos os dias, mas é especialmente importante neste dia em que comemoramos Portugal, Camões e as comunidades portuguesas. Aqui fica o desafio.
We are losing you a little bit. Well, thank you so much. We lost just that little part. We're all the way from making the connection. It's a long connection from Azores to California, but the message was to reinforce that importance of being a dual citizen and it not making any complications, actually just helping your situation in the future. And I will let you go because I know you have important commitments, speeches to do, Portuguese to greet. They love to see when the Portuguese government go over there to show them that they're not forgotten, that Portugal really values their diaspora. I wish I could be there with you guys. I was there for so many years celebrating, filming for RTP or on my roles of advisor or whatever it was. I miss you guys. Please send my love. My heart is still in America and California as I go there often. I was there 2-3 weeks ago, and we're going to get back to this challenge. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado. Abraço.
Muito obrigado. Abraço para todos. Abraço bem português, bem açoriano, para todos aqueles que acompanham esta iniciativa e, em especial, grande abraço de felicitações ao conselheiro Nelson Ponta Garça. Feliz dia de Portugal para todos.
Muito obrigado, caro diretor. Bom dia de Portugal para si e para todos. Well, this was Gendrade opening up here our Dia de Portugal celebrations. Tell us, I could see already here in the chat where you're coming from. We have people from different areas. Please let us know where you're watching from. We are in multiple, we had more than 1,000 people sign up in different areas, different platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and I'm going to pull some of the comments. I'm sorry, some of you it doesn't show the face. I think it's the YouTube users and some Facebook accounts that are linked, but others we have the faces. Let me go here through really quick, but just go in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from, why you're proud to be Portuguese, and what do you want to know on this challenge, because we're going to get right on it. I know that you signed up probably on this challenge also to know specific tips. And yesterday we were on the why you should become. Now we did a little bit more of the why, but now we're going to get into the who is doing it and how you could do it. Okay. And then we're going to have also an example here, somebody that just got their citizenship and going to share with you so that you know that this is not a scam, not a fraud. You know, we're not trying to do anything crazy here, so that you could attest to that experience. Also, while we're on this Azores topic, I was just handed this paper here by Kathy. There was one big discussion thread on our advertisings that were seen by almost 500,000 people. That one of the hot topics was Azores versus Açores. Which one was right and which one was wrong? Well, Azores is in English, Açores is in Portuguese. And then there is no right or wrong. You could say that the original Açores it would be in Portuguese, and the reason, I don't think there's an official reason, but the common sense is that that C, we call cedilha, it doesn't exist on the American Canadian American English, so they replaced it with the Z to make it easier, as they do other countries. Estados Unidos, United States, Canada happens to be the same. Many are the same, but many countries have two versions. So there's no right or wrong. Açores is the original. Azores is how Portuguese Americans worldwide refer it. So that was one of the big topics. It generated dozens and dozens of comments, and I promised to address that on the live. Another thing that concerned you a lot was which path has to learn Portuguese. That's we looked into the 4 major questions on the thread. So if you have questions, type it in. Go to the chat box wherever you're watching this and type the question, and hopefully it will pop up here on my system, and I will generate that on the screen. Okay. So another question, that probably the number 2 question, was which path has to learn Portuguese? Well, if you want to become a Portuguese citizen, through your grandparents is the only path that requires you to do a Portuguese test. Well, I was told, and then Dia de Portugal, Camões and Comunidades Portuguesas, includes the name Camões. Camões was the very famous Portuguese poet, writer, and they named an institute after him called Instituto Camões. Instituto Camões is the institute that is responsible for the teaching of Portuguese worldwide, the culture and different things like that, and they admin that test, and then you could do that test throughout California, East Coast, Canada, and I was told that in general they do everything they can for you to pass. So it's not something they try to make difficult for you, that they want to see you fail. They do everything possible so that you pass that test. So the major thing here is for you to show interest. You don't need to speak perfect Portuguese. You don't need to ace the test if you do it better, and if you speak Portuguese as best as you can, better. But just try to do it, sign up for it, and then if you fail the test, you could do it again. But what I was told is that in general, and I will dig into those percentages. I was hoping to have somebody from Camões here, but it was not possible. They were not authorized to speak. Portugal has some of these bureaucracies sometimes. That's a different topic. We'll get into Portuguese bureaucracy in a little bit. But the Instituto Camões is a very respectable institute that is responsible for the teaching, and they're the ones who admin that. So your question, which path has to learn Portuguese? Through the grandparents only. So if you're going through your parents or even the spouses now, I think a year or 2 years ago, it changed. The law changed in Assembleia da República, in Congress. They changed so the spouses don't have to do it. Well, you ask me if that makes any sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. How, you marry somebody that is African, Asian, very remotely from Portuguese, and they don't need to do a test, and then the grandkid needs to do a test. It makes no sense. But that's the law, and that's what it is. Hopefully they will remove that test in the future. Another question was, how can my kids become Portuguese? Kids is the easiest path. That is the path that that takes the less time. That is the path that doesn't require FBI fingerprints clearance test. It doesn't require the language test. It is by far the easiest, the fastest, and the cheapest. So if you can do it from your kids, do it, because that is the easiest path, that is faster and cheaper. So how, we're going to get more into the how, but that is, if you could qualify through that, that's awesome. How can my kids become Portuguese? Well, your kids could become Portuguese if you are Portuguese. Okay. And again, this is a tip I gave you yesterday. If one of the parents is Portuguese, it doesn't have to be both parents. You could have, like, American mom, Portuguese dad, or the other way around. They could become through that. Okay. We'll need birth certificates and other things. We'll go through that later. Okay. But how can my kids become Portuguese? They could become Portuguese through you. Now, that comes to the next question is, you're not sure if you're Portuguese or not because you came young, or you were born in Portugal, but you're not sure if the citizenship was canceled, revoked, or what's the status. Well, on that, what we advise is that you get you contact us, and we go into the system and we see if the status of your certificate, and we could see if you're still Portuguese or not. And then if you are, your kids could become. Okay, then how can my spouse become Portuguese? That is another path. Your spouse could become Portuguese if the main clearance issues that you need to look into is if was your spouse convicted of a crime of 3 years or more. If yes, no. If yes, they can't. Portuguese in general are law-abiding citizens. We haven't encountered many of those. If it's 3 years or if it's less than 3 years, it's not a problem. Still okay. We all get into some trouble here and there, and if it's not trouble that is major of more than 3 years, Portugal is okay with that. And how can I do this specifically, you ask? Well, that is one of the conditions. Another condition is you cannot be part of, or if you were in the military or part of a government high office, although Portugal and America have great relationships, Portugal doesn't want that Portugal and America that there's conflict of interests. Okay, so they established that if you have a position they might have a conflict of interest, you unfortunately cannot. But if you clear those, if you're not a mayor or vice mayor or city council or military spouse, you could do it. You could do it through your husband. You just need to prove that, and we'll get into that in detail. Okay, so I want to know on the chat here, what are some of your questions? If this live is going towards what you expected, if we're answering the questions, and again, I want you to invite. We still have some time to the backstage access. If you want to interact with us on Zoom and ask specific questions, we have that service after this live. We will be on Zoom. We'll send you a link by email. Kathy's gonna post right here on the thread the link, so you could do that. Now I'm gonna go through some of these comments here and see some of your questions, where you're logging in from. And again, Feliz Dia de Portugal if you're just tuning in. If you're just tuning in, this is Becoming a Portuguese Citizen, Challenge Day number 2. Yesterday, we focused on why you should become a Portuguese citizen. Today, we're focusing on how you do that, going into some of your questions. And so just type your questions in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And here we go. I don't believe they get that specific during the testing, but we do work with various European Portuguese language teachers that help prepare. We will work on getting some of the examples of those tests, and this is a question that is coming up a lot. So, but again, this test, don't get confused and scared. This test is only for grandkids. So if you're doing citizenship through your parents, you don't need this, okay? If my children attain Portuguese citizenship, then their children, my grandchildren, qualify for Path 1, correct? If my children attain Portuguese citizenship, then their children, yes. So exactly, that is the best path to go, because they could already start it from the grandparents, but it will take way longer. Grandparents is taking 2, 3, 4, 5 years through the consulate and the conservatoria, through expedited services, and like us, it's still it takes more than half of the time or so, because we help you prepare that and avoid that when you go there you don't have the wrong documents, but it still takes way longer. So yes, that's exactly the path you should follow. My grandfather was Portuguese, but unfortunately never registered my father's birth with Portugal. Can I somehow register my father's birth with Portugal and make him a Portuguese citizen? We would have to see. That happens a lot, where with the former colonies. Anybody here from former colonies? Angola, Mozambique, Cabo Verde, Macau, Goa. If you were born when in the former colonies, when Portugal was still admin of the territory, you could become Portuguese if you registered that at the time. But we would have to see. So send us a private message, go to our website, www.portuguesecitizenship.org. Schedule a free call with us and we'll look inside. I don't want to tell you exactly because it depends. This is a deep, tricky question that is just not a clear answer, unfortunately. You could also sign up for the VIP backstage where we'll look into that, or send us an email for a free call, okay? Parents' path would be much easier, less requirements to meet. That's right. Is it better to go path 1 via parents or path 3 via spouse? Parents. Way faster. Why? Because through parents, you don't have to go through the Conservatório dos Registros Centrais, the so-called black hole, where all the consulates send everything and they get, just packed with different cases, with a short staff, a small building. It is a place you want to avoid at all costs, and spouses and grandparents need to go through there. So definitely parents. And then you don't need the FBI reports. You don't need the many of the things. European or Brazilian Portuguese? It will be European Portuguese, yes, because you're applying for a Portuguese citizenship in Portugal, so it's the Portuguese. Although eu falo português também com sotaque do Brasil rápido, porque eu vi muita novela quando era novo. Não acho muita diferença entre o português de Portugal e do Brasil, mas há quem ache. So basically, I was doing here a quick Brazilian accent just to show you that Portuguese and Brazilian is very similar. They speak, I always like to compare it as an American English and English from England, as England being the original, like Portuguese, and the American being the Brazilian, kind of a lighter, more fun, kind of easier going language. But once you do the test, it is in European Portuguese, and there are some differences, some major differences there, but I don't think it's a big deal if it's one or the other. But yeah, answering your question, it's European Portuguese. From Massachusetts, North Fall River and West New Bedford. Hello, New Bedford and Fall River, one of the largest Portuguese communities in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. I did a documentary, Portuguese in New England, got to meet a lot of you. Thank you so much for the support and for being here. Let us know where you're from. We're going to end up this segment really here, where you're from, what do you want to know, and I'm going to throw another on the screen. I am in San Juan Capistrano area, Southern California, beautiful area. Let us know, are you a citizen yet? Do you want to become a citizen? Listening live from Gilroy, California. Wife was born in Algarve, beautiful place. We were there not too long ago. It's packed with tourists, sunny and beautiful. After watching your day one, I am pushing her to get her card and will be working for us for sure to get me and our two boys passports. You are awesome. Well, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I can't see your picture on this live stream here, but then I'll go back and see exactly who this is. I really appreciate you validating and being here. We're serving you for free during 3 days, giving you tips, celebrating Portugal with you, making the Portuguese all connected, because we're so many in so many different areas, and I believe the internet and these lives are great to stay connected. And I really appreciate your positive feedback, because we also get some tough feedback. A lot of people wondering if this is a scam or what it is, or they come complain about the consulates. They think I or this system, our team, have anything to do with the consulates, when we don't. We have a great relationship with the consulates. I'm an advisor to the consulates, to one consul at the California, which, by the way, shout out to Pedro Pinto. We are very lucky. Because not all consulates are lucky throughout the world with consulates like we have, about not answering the phones, or don't call the consulates, email them. They don't answer the phones because they have very small staff. So I really appreciate it, but just want to make it clear, if your process is stuck in the consulates or if they don't answer the phone, it is not our responsibility. What we could do is we could try to facilitate, to help this process. We have a great relationship with most consulates, and the ones that are not working well, because there are some consulates that are horrible, lack of staff, or they don't even have a consulate, and the responsibilities most of the time is not even on the employees of the consulate. The consulate employees are underpaid, understaffed, and then they still get a lot of complaints. At fault, who's at fault on this? Is the leadership, is the secretaries of state of communities. that keep telling you that they want you to invest in Portugal, they want you to connect to Portugal, but then they never fix this problem. After 7 years of being an advisor, of being tired of hearing political promises from both parties, I decided to do something about it with our team and to have a private service where you don't have to go to the consulate at all to get your citizenship. You only have to go to the consulate for the so-called biometrics. That is something that nobody could replace the consulate. Once you're approved, but that's a long process, could take 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, depending on the case. Then we set you up, we give you information, we prepare you so you'll make a trip to the consulate, and there's always one more paper missing. You know how it is. Portugal loves their papers and their bureaucracy. So we help you, prepare you for that. But just to make it clear, we are not representing, I'm not a consul general. I am an advisor to the Portuguese communities, and we're a private service. I'm a citizen trying to serve you here on this Dia de Portugal, and I thank you for tuning in. But it's not my responsibility if they don't answer the phones. What I can do is I could try to make complaints to the Portuguese government as an advisor. For 7 years, I've been bringing that point so much that I'm tired of it. I am tired of them not listening, or whatever party they're at. And let me tell you, I don't think it's something that is going to be fixed anytime soon. It's only going to get worse. So, Fall River, Massachusetts, Feliz Dia de Portugal. Yes, Feliz Dia de Portugal. Camões comunidades portuguesas. Let us know, what are you doing for Dia de Portugal today? You got to do something, even if it's just at home. Eat Portuguese food, listen to Portuguese music, attend a Portuguese event. This is a day that we're really proud outside of Portugal. In Portugal, they don't celebrate it much. But outside, it's probably the most important day in the communities as we celebrate Portuguese pride in the Portuguese communities. I'm just going to finish here the comments, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the live. I have Kathy here. Yes, continue with your questions. Even if we can't get them during the live, we'll reach out to you with an answer after that. And I'm going to be bringing Kathy here in a little bit for the details on the path. Kathy is going to be the one that you talk also on email, on our framework platform. If you have questions, sign up on our site, PortugueseCitizenship.org, to schedule a call for questions. We answer the phone. We do video calls, and we have a very, very, very expedited system that we developed in 20 years. Last two questions we have here. My husband and I are Portuguese citizens. We are currently in the process of applying for citizenship. Okay. My husband and I are Portuguese citizens. So if you are a Portuguese citizen, and that's good point, so that we clear that confusion, that this is probably the top area where people get confused, is we are currently in the process of applying for citizenship for our son through the Toronto consulate. Okay, because if you were born in Portugal, you're already a citizen. That's one of the things people get confused. You just need to renew your papers. But what you're doing is you are applying for citizenship for your son through the Toronto consulate. Yes, the Toronto consulate and others. I'm going to read the rest, but I could already guess you have problems. My son has 2 children who he would like to become citizens. He has married and is now divorced. Does he need to register both his marriages and divorce before applying for citizenship for his children? Is this better path option for his kids, or should we do grandparents' path? That's a loaded question. We could also get backstage with you on the VIP backstage Zoom, where we could get into things. But I could tell you already here with a tip, on our free challenge for serving the Portuguese community, that on your last question, the best path is never grandparents. Is this better path option? Never through the grandparents, unless it's the only option. Divorces, yes, in some cases you need to register the divorces, and you almost all the time need to register the marriage. Okay, the marriage is easy. If you do it with us, could take a day. Through the consulates or some conservatories, it could take 2-3 months. Go figure that one out. But there's a lot of questions here, so I want to make sure I don't give you wrong answers. But on the path, yes, through the parents. On the divorce, some divorces need to be filed, and it needs to be filed by a lawyer. It's a difference between Portugal, America, and Canada. In Portugal, it's mandatory there's by a lawyer. And I'm going to introduce you a lawyer here that works in New Jersey, New York for almost 40 years. He's got the best rates, great experience, great person that I could refer to you. Okay. Making caldo verde and enjoying some beirão and Grand Portuguese wine. Yeah, tell us right here how you're celebrating Dia de Portugal, Camões and Comunidades Portuguesas. Is it with Portuguese music? Is it with a food? Is it with an event? Let us know what you're doing. Please type it in. Let's make this interactive, okay? Celebrate Dia de Portugal together. Or if you're just, we're celebrating Dia de Portugal with you right here. We have no plans and we love this. We appreciate it. This is how I'm celebrating Dia de Portugal. I have no other plans because in Portugal, it doesn't even seem like it's Dia de Portugal. There's nothing happening other than the TV broadcasting, what's been doing outside. And big shout out to the president of Portugal that is in Africa, to the members of the socialist government that are in Canada, to the Portuguese government that is in Azores. I know they multiply themselves to represent out there. I am currently in Azores. I always, almost every year, I spend Dia de Portugal in America, mostly California, Kelly Park, or San Diego, Los Angeles. But this year I'm in Portugal, and let me tell you, there's no place to celebrate Dia de Portugal like the communities, like the diaspora. There's nothing happening in Portugal of major importance in Dia de Portugal, and that is kind of sad. But that's why we're celebrating with you, with the communities that are very proud to be Portuguese. So proud to be Portuguese for all from all 4 grandparents. That's awesome. Going to the Portugal celebration in San Jose, California, Kelly Park. Shout out to Kelly Park. They must be lining up right now with a parade and with the different things. Toronto, I know, does a huge Dia de Portugal. They probably one of the largest gathering of Portuguese is in Toronto. New Jersey used to do. I know New Jersey, I think they canceled a lot of it because of the air quality. I'm so sorry for what's happening over there. Hope you guys stay safe out there, stay healthy. It's really horrible air conditions out there. Lúcia Silveira, desculpa, Lúcia. LinkedIn, Facebook, to apply for my daughter Portuguese citizenship, do I need my or my husband birth certificate? Yes, the main thing on citizenships, and Kathy was going to jump right in here and tell you some of the details of what you need. One of the main things you'll need is birth certificates, okay? From parents, from the person applying, whether they're Portuguese, American, Canadian, it's the main thing. And then in America, they all need an apostille. In Canada, they'll need to be recognized by the consulate. The marriage certificate needs to be there too, but I'll slow this down and we'll go in detail with Kathy that does that with us. Does the citizenship card need to be renewed after 5-10 years? Well, they keep changing the times, but when you talk about cards, there's different kinds. I don't know which card you're referring to. Card, it would be this cartão, I think. Otherwise, you would say passport. So I'm assuming it's the cartão de cidadão right here. The cartão de cidadão. It's awesome because it has the three numbers in the back. It has your social security, your medical number. Instead of all those cards that we have in America, we only have one with all of those. It depends. It varies. It expires. It shows the expiration date on the front. It goes from it's usually about 10 years. The passports 5 to 10. They extended. They keep changing it. Added now more pages so that because people complained that they would get over the pages. 5 to 10 years is usually the time. I don't want to give you a definite time here because the laws change and things change, but I will get exactly on those things for you because I'm not sure if it's the passport you're asked or the cartão cidadão, and they're different and depends on the country, depends on different things, but it's between 5 and 10 years, yeah. So you assist individuals with preparing and obtaining Portuguese citizenship. You submit it to the consulate as well. If you can explain how the process works, if someone were to work with you directly. Yes, that's what we're here doing. Now we're serving you with free tips, with things. So if you want to do this on your own, but we're going to bring here, and I want to get him ready backstage. He's already backstage here. José Costa, he did it by himself on his own. And he was still waiting, and then we jumped in and we have good news for him. So I see him, he's live. So let me give you an example here on how this works, and then we're going to continue on the comments, okay? So help me welcome José Costa, all the way. José Costa, are you back from home, Rome, or are you in San Diego?
I'm back home in San Diego. Thank you.
That's
Feliz Dia
awesome.
Portugal.
Feliz Dia de Portugal, Camões e Comunidades Portuguesas, Joe. When I announced to you your citizenship, you were in Rome. You were in Europe. And I told you I had news, and I think you most times when you hear from Portugal about bureaucracy and news, you assume it's bad news, right?
Yeah. When you first texted or called me, I was like, oh, well, something's wrong. It's held up. But then on FaceTime, got the letter. I'm officially a Portuguese citizen, thanks to you and Kathy.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And we love to use your example, and that's why I really wanted you to be here, and I appreciate it to celebrate para celebrar o Dia de Portugal, Camões e Comunidades Portuguesas, perdão. I'm trying to say so many things so fast because our life, we have 5-10 minutes to it's crazy. It seems like it just started and the life is pretty much done, and there's so much I want to cover in like the last 10 minutes. So I want you to share here with our audience, for those that come on my post and say, this is a scam, this is a fraud, there's no way you could expedite, or these different things, or how do you do this, or tell us, how was your experience doing this?
2 years ago, I attempted it on my own. Got all the necessary documents. I had reached out to the Portuguese consulate here in San Diego, and I was replied with the link of the proper documentation needed. It took about 2 months for me to gather all my information, my parents' birth certificate, my birth certificate, get everything apostilled, notarized, and sent it to Centrais Lisboa directly. I had the option of doing it to the consulate, but to get an appointment with them was impossible at the time. And sent it in July of 2001. Finally got a resposta in August via email that they received my packet and gave me an access number and to check the process. Well, 6 months went by, no movement. A year and a half went by, no movement. I ended up going to Lisboa back in July of 22 and stopped by the Centrais and went in person and asked if there's any movement or what was needed, anything missing, and nothing. And I actually waited 2 hours in the Centrais, and I got the same resposta. Everything's here, you just gotta wait. Then last year in November, your program came on Facebook,
and it was our very first live challenge like this in November. Yep.
And I asked for your help. I'm like, look, I'm a simple case. Meus pais são da Terceira Açores, born and raised there. They immigrated in '79. I'm first generation here. Why is the process so long with Centrais? And then that's when you came in. And doing your program was super easy. Your platform online, uploading documents, working with Kathy and you was amazing. Your responses, if I have a question, I would email you. Within 24 hours, I'd get a response. And absolutely amazing. And if I was to do it all over again with you guys, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Well, thank you, Joe. That's very kind of you. And just to sum up for you, he had filed already, and that this is in line with a lot of people that say they come and they complain on our page like it's our responsibility, but we're here to help, and we don't take it personal or get offended. We just want to clear up that if you're waiting, you're not waiting because of us. Right. We try to expedite and try to facilitate. But the main thing is, what did we tell you back then? And actually, it started with a lawyer that works with us. He said, well, what we advise is that you could wait a month or 2 or so, and then if there's no news, just file it all over again. And I know you were like, what? File it all over again?
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
But imagine if you didn't file, you would be waiting for, only God knows
I
how
would
long.
still be waiting. Exactly. Yes.
And maybe it would have been. I have to admit that we were a little nervous. That, maybe what if you signed up for this and you're paying for our services, but then the other one comes up and we would refund you. But we took that risk because we also wanted to serve you, and we were pretty confident that you were going to still be waiting. And this was in November. And then we announced this. You on your birth certificate now. You were born May
25th.
May 25th of 2023. Yeah,
2023.
That's your second birthday now. Meaning that, so basically, he was not born in Portugal, obviously, but the way you do it is once you get the citizenship approved, you get a birth certificate that is simple. It's nothing crazy or fancy. It's a PDF, a digital file that shows the name of your parents and everything else. And the date of birth in Portugal is actually the day you're true to the citizenship. Correct. So you now have a second birthday. Now, to finalize, tell us about this framework that I keep a lot of people. What is this expedited framework to citizenship that you talk about? This framework that we have, it's many things. It's just avoiding all these mistakes, avoiding all the problems, avoiding 20 years of experience that we have, and more than 100 years combined with a team of the lawyers and the notarios that do a great job with us. But the main innovative, different thing that we have that not even the government of Portugal has, and this was told by government officials, is this platform where you could upload and do this whole process, know every little step, know who's responsible, how long this takes, get instant feedback. Tell us a bit that application and how you could just do it from your phone or your desktop.
Your platform was super easy. You had asked for our required documents, if either was a passport, ID, or your birth certificate. I would scan it in and upload it, and then from there you would take it. And it was simple, who's easy to work with computers or who knows how to work with them. Uploading everything was a breeze. You guys did excellent. I would definitely do it again.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. And now the next step is we're gonna work with you. Actually, I think Kathy's already working that out so that you get your cartão de cidadão on your passport.
Yes,
and now,
employment, yes.
And this is what I usually say on the social media, and we have more than 1,000 people registered for this, more than 500,000 views on the advertisings that we did. We're in multiple platforms. We're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and different areas. And one of the major questions that happens a lot is some people say, "Oh, just go to the consulate or go here. This is easy," or this is an example. We don't want to make things complicated, because if it was easy, if this was easy, and there was no need for help, believe me, I have plenty to do. I have plenty of areas, from real estate to music to documents to books. I would not jump in to serve, to help, to give tips on something that was easy. The thing it is not. And if you were lucky that this was easy for you, well, God bless you. I'm glad it was, because I understand that in some cases it's smooth. It's not all negative and problems and bureaucracy. There's some success stories of people that do it on their own or that work with the consulates well. But in general, it's an area that we found to be very difficult. That's why we started doing this. And then here's a great example of that. Now, the step that Joe is going to take now is one step that you have to go to the consulate. On that one, there's no way around it, which is to get the biometrics. He's going to have to go there, schedule an appointment, and then we like to help you with that as well, because some people, they can't even find the website, because the Portuguese websites, they're very archaic and they're very non-functional. But we learned to work that out and find where to schedule the appointments. Or some consulates you can't not schedule online, some you can. So it all varies. It's not consistent. That's one thing that Portugal and the government been promising. I heard the Secretary of State today talk about consulado virtual and all these things they're doing. Well, the sites still suck, and it's still the same problem. And I'm telling you this because I live in the race, whatever party you're at, and that's why I represent the Portuguese community until July. Then I'm out. Hopefully you'll have somebody easier for the Portuguese government, because I was not easy with the Portuguese government. But still, a lot of things are the same. So when I say I don't think nothing's going to change on that, I truly believe it for many reasons. It's to be worse because more and more people are signing up. More and more people want to become Portuguese. Just last year alone, about 150,000 Brazilians alone submitted applications. So it's easy to understand why the Conservatória dos Registros Centrais is in trouble.
Is in trouble.
They have they have security guards outside, police, because people get pissed off, frustrated, start throwing chairs and trying to break stuff and do graffiti outside because it does not work. And again, I don't blame the workers there. Actually, I've been there and the workers are great. They do what they can, but they're understaffed with no conditions. It is just horrible. And I've complained to different Portuguese officials, and we just had here Portuguese government of Azores that doesn't respond for that. But I already made a complaint several times to the Portuguese government there. Hopefully they'll do something about it and they'll stop going to the communities just bragging about what they're going to do and get nothing done. That is my honest opinion. Portugal is a great place, but we do need to end bureaucracy and make people like Joe that is really proud, like you, watching this live. You're proud to be Portuguese, but you really hate the bureaucracy, and it was frustrating you. I remember when you were like, I went to State, I did all of this, and nobody is answering. It's the same thing, and why? So, and here we are with a success story. Thank you so much, Joe. Anything else final you want to share? Let us know.
Absolutely.
Obrigado, abraço e feliz dia de Portugal, and you are now a Portuguese dual citizen.
Portuguese citizen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all you need is your cartão cidadão and passport. Obrigado, abraço grande para São Diego, okay?
Obrigado, thank you.
Força. Now I'm going to bring here Kathy to end this live as far as some of the steps, some of the details on the 3 paths that we focus through heritage. And again, let me just remind you that we were live here yesterday. We're ending our live here, but we're going to be live again tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to go into even more detail. We're going to show you all the steps. We're going to show you a screen. What about this? We're going to show you, share our screen of our framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship, completely free to serve you, for you to do it on your own if you'd like, or to work with us if you want something to do that with you. We're also going to look into your questions. We're going to go on the final day of this challenge and go in depth in things that we're not able to address. And we will also look into all the questions. So send your final questions into the comments if you want to see them addressed tomorrow. If you have some confidential, specific stuff that you don't want to make public, sign up for the VIP backstage access. That is a Zoom call where we could talk and get some of those things cleared for you. Okay. I hope this went towards what you wanted. And let me bring Kathy up here. Hi, Kathy. Turn on your mic. Kathy's going to go into some of the details here and bring your sound down because we could hear it. This is live. You can see it's live. It's a little return there. But we will get into the details of Path 1, Path 2, and Path 3. Now, Kathy, tell us some of the major things that people should be doing right now if they're going through Path 1, parents, Path 2, grandkids, or Path 3, spouses. The floor is yours.
So the first thing you're going to need to get is your birth certificates. Every birth certificate needs to come with an apostille. What is an apostille? It's essentially a cover letter that tells the Portuguese government it is an official document issued by the state where you were born. Marriage certificates also need it. So essentially any document issued by the state needs to come with an apostille in the United States. Canada has a different process. It would need to go to Ontario for recognition. But that makes it so that way the documents come over. When they get to the Portuguese government, there is no, oh, is this fraud? Is it fake? It just guarantees that it's a real document. So those are the first things that you would be wanting to get is birth certificates, marriage certificates with apostilles. Some states allow you to order both of them at the same time. So when you submit for the birth certificate or marriage certificate, they automatically will allow you to order the apostle with it. States like California, I believe Idaho, there's a few others, do not. So you have to submit for the birth certificate. Once that comes back, then you need to submit it back to Sacramento for the apostle. So it, depending on how busy they are, it's been taking anywhere from 2 to 3 months to get that done. So that's something that you're going to want to start doing, regardless of you starting the process with us now or not, or doing it on your own. That takes up a bit of a time. They do not expire, which is also really good. So you could do it now, hold on to it, and then when you decide you want to move forward, take that path. For the spouse and grandparents path, one of the main items that you need to have that kind of is the approve deny is the letter of connection. The Portuguese government, before issuing you your citizenship, wants to know, why do you want to become a citizen? So if you want to become a citizen through either one of those paths, make sure that you are documenting anything Portuguese that you attend to. So if you're out and about today and you stop by a Portuguese Dia de Portugal festival, snap some pictures, take some video. If you are traveling to Portugal this summer, keep your itinerary, keep your tickets. If you live in a city that has a Portuguese hall or a Portuguese function, Casa Benfica, Sporting, anything like that, join, be a member. I think the memberships usually are anywhere from $25 to $100 a year. Join, be a member, and then you can ask the board of that club or hall to write you a introduction letter to the government. Once you compile all of that and you submit it, we would write your connection letter. We would have our legal team draw it up, and then the pictures and all of the documentation that I just mentioned would be proof to the letter. Let me see what else would be on there. There's the FBI reports that would also need to be done for both spouse and grandparents. So you would have to have the FBI clearance reports done. Those also, I believe, do not expire. And those are pretty much the two main things that take a bit longer on the grandkids and spouse paths.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Kathy. And tomorrow we will get more into detail, and we'll have on the screen these things so that it's not as confusing, and you'll retain that. I know it's a lot of information. Don't get worried. Don't get stressed.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here, and we have the list of steps. And very soon, I could announce you already, we're going to publish a book called Becoming a Portuguese Dual Citizen, Your Expedited Path to Dual Citizenship, where you could read it slowly and go through it. So just get it going, and let's get this enthusiasm of Dia de Portugal, because let me tell you, you could eat all the Portuguese food, listen to all the Portuguese music, go to all the Portuguese events. But unfortunately, until you get your citizenship, you are not a Portuguese citizen on the sense of wanting to live here, work here, study here, or your kids, and your bond will end also, so that if you don't do it, then it expires, and then other generations won't be able to do it. And we get people like that all the time that wish they could become Portuguese, and they can't because their parents or grandparents didn't do it. Now, on the grandparents, the only thing I would bring that up, Kathy, for that path, and it becomes more difficult if you have to do it to the grandkids, because you need to do a test, you need to have the FBI clearance report, you have different things, okay? So I'm going to play a quick video here that we did that explains a little bit of those paths to hope that these words we have and all these things become a little bit more clear, okay?
Were you born in Portugal? Great! You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese, or have you been living together for 3 years or more? Yes? Citizenship Path 3 is for you. Becoming a Portuguese Citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. www.portuguesecitizenship.org.
All right, and this wraps up our live right here. We were 15 minutes past the time, but we got excited with Dia de Portugal and also with the participation of the Diretor Regional das Comunidades Portuguesas, José Andrade, in the beginning, that brought some political strength to this day. That is always important to show that Portugal is committed to value the Portuguese communities worldwide. And you still have 1-2 minutes if you want to jump in our website on our emails and get backstage with us for specific questions. If you don't want to comment your privacy things, if you want to really get into some details, or just schedule a call with us, and you just want to get some tips, we are here to serve you completely free another day. Tomorrow is the last day. Join us 9 a.m. California, 12 Eastern time, 4 p.m. Azores, 5 p.m. Lisbon. And this is it. Feliz Dia de Portugal, Camões e Comunidades Portuguesas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Nelson Pontagarça, NPG. It was my pleasure to serve you these 2 days, and I'm going to be here again tomorrow. Well, Feliz Dia de Portugal. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado.
Do you want to become a Portuguese dual citizen? We have created a framework to expedite your path to dual citizenship without long waits and no Portuguese bureaucracy, stopping you from making this dream a reality. This is how it works. Were you born in Portugal? Great. You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. The Portuguese passport is one of the most powerful in the world. Live, work, and travel freely in all 27 EU countries without a visa. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese and have you been living together for 3 years or more? Citizenship Path 3 is for you. If you hire us and start today, your framework to dual citizenship includes orientation video conference on your preferred platform, login access to our online tool with our framework of steps, instructions, document uploads, legal experts assigned to your path, all Portuguese legal documents including birth certificates, translations, power of attorney, and much more. We pay your Portuguese government application fees. We help you scheduling your appointments, including American institutions and Portuguese consulates, embassies, etc. We submit your citizenship application in Portugal with our online expedited framework. You receive a welcome package mailed to your home to securely mail documents. It includes my book, Portuguese in California, The History of Generations, $60 value, free. Not having to deal with Portuguese bureaucracy, priceless. Unrestricted European Union access to 27 incredible countries. Education and career opportunities. Consular assistance and protection worldwide. Extend the same privileges to your spouse and children. Embrace your Portuguese roots and maintain dual citizenship. Portuguese citizenship is a privilege that could expire after the 3rd generation. If you do not act now, you could lose your opportunity to become a dual citizen and your kids will no longer qualify. The link to your Portuguese heritage will be broken forever. Becoming a Portuguese citizen. Your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Sign up today and take advantage of our monthly payment limited time offer. We are with you every step of the way. www.portuguesecitizenship.org